Ready? Hey guys, welcome back to episode 6 with 4 Downs to Coach Preston. We got an awesome episode today. As always, we've got a hot topic we'll talk about. We'll answer some questions, and then we'll bring you some skills and drills and plays and things that you can add into your coaching platform, or if you're parents, you can do with your kids to help them become better players.
Yeah.
Before we get started, if you love the content we're bringing you each week, make sure to like and subscribe. So you've got notifications hitting as soon as this stuff comes out on Thursdays.
Yep.
Coach, what we got for today?
Perfect. All right, let's get right into our main topic. And our main topic today is, why is flag football experiencing explosive growth for kids? Now, this is definitely, everything's kind of trending in that way, right? I could attest to that since we started, it feels like 100 years ago with my biggest boy. He was in kindergarten or first grade, and we were playing like 1 or 2 teams. And now with the league, it's huge, right? So why is it blowing up?
And there's a crazy stat that we'd mentioned on this.
Yeah. You want me to get into that right now? Sure. The NFL reports 2.4 million kids under 17 played organized flag football in the U.S. in 2024, marking a 71% increase from the prior year.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So why do you think that's why is it happening?
It is. We've experienced all the sports, right? We've played soccer and basketball, baseball. Kids still play a couple of those, but this game is just highly interactive and it's nonstop, right? Like everyone's always involved. That's the easy answer. I think kids just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Right. So, not to knock any sports, baseball is very slow at 5 and 6 and 7 years old.
Right.
And it's a skill sport as they get older. So if kids aren't hitting the ball well, or if they're hitting the ball well, they get out, right? They're not having fun. Basketball is pure skill. It's all dribbling and shooting, right? So if you're not doing that well, then you're probably not enjoying it as much.
Right.
And soccer's probably flows a lot more with flag football, right? Like you're just moving up and down the field. You always have an opportunity to get the ball. And in football, right, you can just hand the ball to a kid and they can just run.
Right.
Not so super skill-based at a young age for the most part.
Yeah, so from a kid's perspective, kids, more often than not, kids will enjoy it. Now, I mean, if a kid's struggling to catch, like that's a different thing. But, yeah, I could see where kids would gravitate more towards flag football than some of these other sports, right? The other thing, too, I think, is that flag football has really kind of opened up an opportunity for kids to play football and it to be safer than tackle, right? So, it wasn't that long ago where concussions and all of this stuff was really, we're seeing it everywhere. And then like the after effects and all like the mental issues that some of these NFL players were experiencing. So I think people started to pull back on football as a whole. Like, hey, okay, well maybe tackle football for my kids when they get a little bit older, but I'm not going to start. I don't want them to do Pop Warner at 6 anymore. I want them to, I want them to be okay. Right. So, that's where flag football really kind of came into play, and it feels a little bit safer. I think that there's still some things that they're going to continue to develop and grow with. I think that there's still some rules that are going to change throughout time to make things as this thing is kind of blown up. But I think parents are more comfortable with them in this sport than they were when some of the other sports, when it comes to football. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, tackle football, you could hear it from parents. Like, my kid's never going to play. I still hear it now. He's not going to play till the 8th grade. And I get that. There's concerns over the sport. But NFL and football has always been super popular.
Right.
Like, kids love it. They watch it. It's a fun game. But you don't even have to be on offense, right? If you don't catch well at an older age, right, you can play defense. And you're running around. You're still pulling flags. You're knocking the ball down, right? Whereas in baseball, if you're playing left field for 4 innings, it gets very stale out there when the ball doesn't come to you.
Right.
Right. And it's just not ideal and not fun.
Yeah.
Baseball in general. So, I'm sorry, it's a great sport, but it can be boring if you're out there and you're not getting any action.
Right.
In flag football, you're chasing on defense all the time, and you've got every play. You've got an opportunity to make a play.
Right.
So I just think it's high intensity, high action, and everyone's always involved, and more so than other sports. And it doesn't require the skills that other sports do to be successful.
Yeah.
We had a 10U basketball game this week, and we love our kids, and it's fun to watch them play basketball, but they probably make 3 for every 15 shots they take, right?
Right.
So now they're enjoying it, right? But they probably enjoy football a little bit more because it's easier to have a high success rate and just running the ball and picking up some yards or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I have a kid that is kind of struggles to catch and they have that one catch in the game, I always go up to them, like, how'd that feel? And like, that was amazing. Yeah. That was great. Okay, Well, then we need more of that, right? So let's keep working on you running the routes and you making those catches so that you get that feeling again, right? So, and they're usually locked in at that point. Like, okay, all right, I'll do that.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you got to think catching a football is much easier than shooting a basketball too, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's got to be from a skill perspective, right? Higher likelihood you're going to catch a football than probably make a basket from 12 or 14 feet out. So easier sport to adapt to, and then kids can start to pick up skills a lot easier. And they don't have to specifically train for it, right? And then they find their spot, and some kids just love defense, right? And they love going to pull flags,
right?
And it's just fun because they know what they got to do. So
100%. I also think that the NFL has really embraced flag football. Right. You have the Pro Bowl that's now flag football, which I think makes it more fun. But they also encourage a lot of things. They sponsor a lot of things. I know that there's a particular tournament that's going to go on here with this upcoming Friday, and I think it's got like 1,000. At Disney, right?
Disney tournament. It starts on Thursday. It's a 4-day tournament, and teams usually play 2 of the 4 days. But you're right. There's over 1,000 teams in the tournament.
That's crazy. That wasn't that way last year.
We played in this. We started this tournament 4 years ago. It was our first time in, and I think they had like 300 teams, 350 teams.
Right.
And each year it's grown unbelievably. And it's every age division. So it's 5U, 6U, 7U, all the way up to 18U. And in our 10U division, there's 96 teams. We play a team from Mexico. There's teams from Canada and China and all over the country. Like, it's not likely you play a team from Florida when you're in this tournament. You're playing a team from another state or country. It's crazy.
That's incredible, man.
Unbelievable, yeah.
So I was doing practice yesterday, and it was a holiday. So I had some kids that were missing, and some other kids had like sports obligations, so they couldn't be there. So I'm running 3 teams at the same time, right? 2 7, 8, 7th, 8th grade teams, and a 5th grade, 6th grade team. So I decided to put the 7th grade, 8th grade teams together and scrimmage them, right? And I was still short a player. I see this kid with his dad, I guess, further off in the field, is kind of throwing the ball. And I said to him, like, hey, man, you want to come play with us? And he goes, oh, yeah. So he comes in, and I'm like, all right, hey, so I just plugged him wherever I needed him, right? So I needed an interior guy on defense. I plugged him right in, boom, and all of a sudden he's making the moves. He's like, where are we doing a zone? I go, yep. I go, here's your area, perfect. And he's locked in, right? And then we go to offense, and I moved him around from center to like kind of slot receiver, and everybody else has their wrist plays. And he goes, what's my route? And I'm like, hey, you're running a comeback. You're running an out here. You're running. He goes, okay, got it. And I'm like, dude, like, where did you come from? Because, like, what are you doing Friday? Like that's,
yeah.
I'm like,
you plugged in.
Like, yeah, dude, you're like, this is out of nowhere. Never seen this kid before. We're here every week. And he's like, oh, I'm in town for the tournament. Oh, wow. I was like, no kidding. He goes, yeah, I'm in town for this tournament. He's from Massachusetts. And, I saw him throw the ball. He's a quarterback, but, like, great kid, very respectable. And just wanted to play, and he and he got an opportunity to play with other kids. I mean, and all the other kids were like, "Man, you got to play with us, come on," So it's kind of crazy to think that just out of the blue, how quick and this is caught on. And since we're in Orlando because of this tournament, like you got to see some of the talent that's just kind of around at this point.
How cool for that kid too to be traveling down and like just kind of burning the evening off with his dad playing catch, and then the team invites him to play football.
Yeah. I was like, hey, well, I mean, that's I'm if I see a kid, I'm sucking him in, right? Yeah. I'm like, hey, come on, well, experience or not, if you want to play, come and play, right? So I lucked out in the fact that he was just locked in, and it was just easy. When I was talking with Jax, and Jax was seeing me talking, I was like, man, he knows everything you're saying. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
This is an easy plug. I'm unlucky that he will be leaving this weekend.
Yeah, too bad. You have to fly him in,
That's cool.
So yeah, that kind of covers our main topic. Flag football is exploding.
Yeah,
it's very popular. It's a lot of fun. There are ups and downs, but man, when you get those moments when kids have good experiences, it's amazing. Right?
It's a fantastic sport to keep kids moving and give them a chance to all get engaged. Right.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's roll into our coaches' questions. Now, this is kind of from last week. What drill can you do in order to teach a safety to not bite on pump fakes?
Yes.
So
we're gonna go to the board here in a second. I'm gonna go over that. I think there's a couple things, and we'll try to get to a video on this, right, for a drill. But the key is, before we go to the board, is when we're doing this drill, the coach's job is to watch the safety and make sure that he's taking, in my opinion, he should be consistently just dropping into coverage, right, so that no one's getting behind him.
Right.
Any moment that he feels that he needs to take steps forward to pick up something short, he's already beat, right? So we want to teach these kids to consistently be dropping back, and the short throw underneath is not their ball.
Right.
It's just a catch that's going to happen. When there's nothing deep, right, and they get really good at this, then they can come up. But early on, I would just teach our safety to consistently drop. And anytime he takes a forward step, we stop the play, the drill, we do it again. We remind him over and over and over again to make sure he's dropping deep. So I'm going to go over here and show you a couple route patterns we run to help him keep him guessing, to make sure he's taking a back pedal.
All right, perfect. Let's jump to the board real quick.
All right, so here's a drill we did with our safeties early on, and there's different steps to this and different levels. We want to start simple with them. Basically, you got one safety in the middle of the field, and we'll put two receivers out here. And the idea is the safety's job in the middle of the field, in most coverages, is obviously just to drop and take the deep ball and not get beat deep. But a lot of times they like to come up and help on the first receiver that crosses their face, and then you're getting hit for 6 points over the top. So what we do is run different combinations, just one simple combination we run. And the goal here is the quarterback snaps the ball and drops back. As this guy comes across the field, this safety should be dropping backwards no matter what. He should have no anticipation of coming up. And what we'll see sometimes is this is the first guy that crosses his face, so the safety's first step, Coach Mike, will literally be up, and then he's going to try to drop back. And at that point, he's already beat. So that's why I say it's important for a coach to be watching the safety on this. We're not looking for the throw. This isn't a wide receiver drill. We're looking to see what his first step is. And if he's dropping back on this play and picking up the post, then he's in good shape. So we'll rep that a couple times.
Okay.
What we can do when he's starting to understand that is now we can throw that pump fake in, right? And we can run this underneath here and throw the pump fake, and then we're looking at his feet again to see if he's coming up on the pump or staying back. And we don't want him moving up in any case ever, because exactly what people are going to do, we do it quite often, is if we see a safety over aggressively moving on a pump fake, then we're just going to, or on a play, we're going to throw it to the top.
Right.
So this is just a basic way to run this. Obviously, once they start to figure that out, then we can move our receivers to other parts of the field here, and we can tell one of these guys, right? Mm-hmm. One of these guys can run the crossing route, and then one can run the post. So we're giving the safety different looks, but he's got to consistently drop back, and then he's got to figure out which guy is going to challenge him deep, right, without coming up on the underneath throw.
Okay. So you're going to run a pump fake, right? Now, you can pump the back guy or the front guy either way, correct? Yeah,
you can. I mean, if you pump the back guy, you're still challenging him on the deep, so he needs to be covering that post no matter what.
Right.
I don't know how that helps as much, because if you're pumping the back guy, then we're hitting the underneath throw, which we're telling that safety, we don't care if this throw gets caught right now.
Right.
We're trying to get it to be deep. So I think what we're trying to do is give a couple different scenarios for different routes, and we can add in other guys as well to push the safety back. But we just want to watch the safety in practice and make sure that his steps are always backwards, right, when he's being challenged, and never coming up, because that's where they get hurt. They take two steps up, and then they can't recover and get back to the deep ball anymore.
Right.
So we just want to consistently teach our safeties to continue to drop into coverage, and then when the ball's thrown, that's when they can come up.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing that I was going to mention. The only time I always tell the safety, hey, ball in the air, you can start to close out if it's in front of you, right? But never if it's pumped. The ball has to be moving. We're assuming that the catch is going to happen. You still just got to get there, right? There was one other thing I was going to ask.
I'm going to take you over here real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm going to show you is that's with a single high safety at the top. You know, you probably got corners dropping to help. But let's just say you have a cover two safety that you want to challenge.
Right.
The way we challenge him is we can put two receivers over here. We can run one guy up here on a comeback or a deep out, and then we could run the inside guy on a deep corner. And again, this safety needs to be taking this deep corner out and give up the underneath throw. But if he's biting down on this comeback, or even a couple steps this way, then he's in trouble on the corner behind him. So he just his consistently dropping back 3 or 4 steps into his coverage is what we want to continue to coach him on.
So that's in regards to the cornerback, not the safety, correct?
I'm sorry. This is a corner safety. So this is a 4-2. If your team runs a 4-2, then we're going to challenge the safety a little differently, because really his area is all back here. But it doesn't change that he needs to be dropping and not biting on this play.
Okay.
Because what we'll find is if we have an aggressive safety we're playing against and he comes up, then we'll run a comeback over here to get him to bite, and then we'll run in behind him. So we need to coach our safeties to continually drop and not take steps forward. That's just it's a simple task, but the coaches have to watch that at practice and make sure you're looking at his feet. And if he's starting to come up, we got to do the drill again and again and again until he's just dropping backwards consistently.
Okay, what if you have a quarterback that's kind of notorious for rolling out right or rolling out left and you have a single safety? Can that safety roll with the quarterback, or do you want them to stay in the middle of the field at all times?
Well, it's depending on their on what defense you're in, right? So if you have a single high safety, you're likely in a man coverage, right, which means they're man across the board. And if they are in man, then the DBs should be covering. We have to assume they're going to cover the guy. So, yes, if a quarterback rolls out right and we're in man coverage, right, they're covering the guy ahead of him, then he can roll with the quarterback, right, a little bit to help. But he's he's just covering the whole field at that point, right?
Right.
Now, if we're in a single high safety here, but they're in a 5-1, which is a defense we went over the other day, our outside corner's job is to drop and cover the deep outside third, and then the safety only has the middle. So if this is the defense you're in, then this safety should not roll when the quarterback rolls.
Gotcha.
Because he's going to leave his zone, and now the middle of the field is going to be wide open.
Okay.
That answer your question?
Yep, makes sense.
All right.
All right, let's get back to our chairs. Okay, so that kind of answers the question from last week, but we're going to put a drill in for the following week to show it in kind of real time.
Yeah, we'll get some video this week of the actual live drill so we can put it on and you can kind of see it happening from an aerial view.
Okay. Question number 2. Do you have a drill to help develop a player's speed and agility?
Absolutely, we do. And so before we get into the drill, I want to be clear for young kids, right? I think the idea is that they need specialized training or something like that. And it's not that it doesn't help. It certainly can help with a lot of their form, but for a lot of kids, it's just their rhythm and how they run, right?
Okay.
So a lot of kids just run straight and left and right, but they never actually make lateral movements a lot. And that's why kids are more developed, because they'll play certain games in the backyard, like tag, or they'll just play football and hand it off. They're always having a juke left and right, so they build the rhythm in those movements, and they get in and out of them faster. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times the younger kids, it's just giving them ladder drills or hurdle drills or things they can consistently do, and I'd stick with the same ones at first until you start to see a lot of improvement on their rhythm, and then you can start to switch those up. So there's different types of movements that they're learning to run in sync with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're saying rhythm over agility and speed.
Technicality, right. The technical part of coaching any of that stuff, I don't think it's necessary. I think at a young age, just having the kids do a bunch of these drills consistently, and you'll see them develop and get faster and more quick with them.
Right.
And then you can get into some sort of training at some point if you want. But I'm going to show a drill right now that I've got my son doing right now. And there's multiple things we do when we go out there and we're training, right? But this is one where I've seen over 4 or 5 weeks, like he's getting significantly faster because he's just finding the rhythm of how to do it.
Okay.
Right? And rhythm is running at a young age.
Okay.
So if we look show it on screen here.
Jump on that. Okay.
So this is like a lateral running drill that we're going to watch right here. And you can see he's just moving left and right, getting his knees up over the hurdle. So it's teaching to get his knees up, but he's also having to plant his foot on the outside there, right? And get back out to the other side of the drill, like a lateral quickness and explosive.
Right.
What I tell my kids is, and so a lot of times with this drill, we can line up 3 hurdles, which is more of a quick movement, or we can line up 5 or 7 hurdles and they have to go longer with it, right? Mm-hmm. What I tell the kids is on this outside plant foot, that's the most important part of this whole drill. It's not really the middle, because they get their feet up and down over the hurdles pretty well, pretty easy. It's how quickly when they get their outside foot down, can they push and start getting back out to the left or the right, right? So that's the agility explosion part of the drill.
Okay. And so how does this help a player become better on the field? What is it?
It just helps them get their feet underneath them in a rhythm, so that this particular movement would be certainly advantageous for some routes, but also what they call like the juke move, right? When you're running up at a guy or defender's coming at you and you plant your foot and move your body to the left, it teaches that explosive movement, right, to get away from the defender very quick.
Right.
Whereas you'll see some kids at a young age, by the time they run to the defender, they don't really know how to move their feet, and they use their body and hips to open up and get left and right. This drill will help them learn to move left and right a lot quicker and more explosive. Okay. And the more they do it, the more explosive they get with it, right?
So do you think that this is more helpful on offense, or is it also helpful on defense as well?
I would think that this all these drills play into everything. I think it's about building rhythm with their feet and moving them fast.
Right.
So there's drills you can do going forward and backward. There's lateral drills you can go. I think it goes on defense. It's the same thing. On defense, you typically are breaking down, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you're breaking down and moving your feet, you're waiting on the offensive guy to make his move. When he moves right, now you can move right. Because you've done this.
Because you're prepared.
It probably helps in baseball and basketball and everything else as well. So probably just a good drill. And there's a number of drills you can do. I think what I'm getting at with coaches and parents is get them doing certain things like this, right? And it may be hard at first and slow, but you very quickly, within days or weeks, you'll see the transition of them getting faster and more explosive with it,
right?
Because they're teaching their feet to be in rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing crazier than watching like a cornerback or a safety kind of close out fast on a spot, right? And I'm sure that this play can come into that. It's not so much that their speed, it's just that they have the right foot placement, they have that rhythm, and they can get there really quickly.
Yeah, and then another thing I'll point out is like even like quarterbacks, right? Young parents are like quarterbacks. It's all about throwing, and it's about accuracy and throwing. But in flag football, or even if they play tackle football, they're going to start getting rushed at some point, and they need to be able to move. So if you can get a quarterback that's moving to his left really hard, and he can plant his foot in the ground and then get back out to the right, that speed and agility is helpful for any position, and this is exactly what that drill is going to do.
Right. Okay, perfect, Ben. Great little drill there. All right, question number 3. What's a route for about 10 to 12 yards? My quarterback is timid on throwing a midfield ball. This is a really good question. I have this experience all the time. You know, you have a quarterback that he's really good with the little dunk passes, right? And maybe his deep ball is okay, maybe a little bit accurate, maybe a little bit off, but you see a lot of things that are open in the midfield that you've kind of set up in an offense, but the quarterback is kind of afraid to throw because he feels like the pocket isn't there, right? The defender's a little bit closer than he's comfortable with throwing, and he's terrified of throwing an interception or something like that.
Yeah, the middle of the field is. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. You got safeties, and sometimes you got linebackers dropping back there, and those are really, really window throws that you teach your kid.
Right.
And a lot of time that teaches patience, right? I think they see the receiver, and a lot of times they don't wait that extra second until they get into that window. So that's a tough one. But I think for us, we actually have a route that we're going to go over today, which is the comeback, which is a high percentage play for us. We basically we're putting the outside corner, essentially, if he's in man or he's dropping into thirds, on an island, one-on-one, right? But the outside comeback or the outside 10-yard out are probably good throws. On the 10-yard out, the key is the interior receiver just needs to get in behind the linebacker, because the linebacker is probably only going to drop 2 or 3 yards, and they're typically looking forward. They're not dropping deep. If he sneaks in behind him, then he loses the wide receiver, and by the time the wide receiver breaks to the out, it's an easier throw to the sideline because there's not a lot of defenders over there.
Right.
Now, this is depending on the defense and how they're set up, but typically there's less defenders covering the sidelines than there are in the middle of the field. So out-breaking throws, maybe your 10-yard out or your comeback, or higher percentage throws, and easier for your quarterback to pull the trigger on, if you will.
Okay, so this kind of jumps into your play for today, correct? Yep. All right, so then instead let's just jump into what your play for today is so we can show our viewers the play.
Yep. So we'll go to comeback on the board, and then we'll take them into the video and show them the comeback on the video as well.
All right, perfect.
All right, so the play we're going to go over today is our 59 route combo. And 59, if we go back to the route tree, our 5 number is our outside receiver, and our second number our inside receivers take, right? So these guys are running this here. So our 9 route is just a straight go route. That's what we're running right here. The key in this specific formation, so usually in man coverage or a 5-1, which is very common, starting to become a lot more common in the younger ages, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. These outside corners we talk about all the time, right? They have to drop, and they got to cover deep, right? The safety covers deep. This guy covers deep. So our comeback is a great route we run, because what we do is we'll start to press this outside corner like we're running deep, and he usually turns and runs, and by the time he's sprinting and looking in the backfield to see if it's a go ball or just turns his hips in general, our receiver breaks down, comes back to the sideline, and we catch it right in here. So the depth of this route, depending on the age, is anywhere from probably 10 to 15 yards, meaning they run 10 yards and then they start to come back down, or they run 15 yards and they start to come back. But the key is they turn outside to the sideline here. And a lot of times we have our quarterback will roll to that side, right? So we'll look at the defense here. We'll pick a side that we're going to throw it to based on a matchup, and then we'll push this guy deep, come back, and then this is a very easy 8 to 12-yard pickup. We probably convert 8 or 9 out of 10 plays like that because the corners really have to sell deep and cover that.
Okay. All right. And this is also a window throw too, or no? Right? Or is this more of a spot?
It should be It should be a pretty open window because again, we'll see it on tape in a minute. This safety starts bailing really hard. As long as our kids push the right depth. So the key is, I told you, they need to get to about 10 to 15 yards, depending on their age and their speed. Right? It takes a little longer for younger guys to get there, but a young team, a second grader, could probably go 10 yards and then come back. But by the time they run full speed for 10 yards, they have to sell go. They got to run hard. They can't jog. This corner really starts to bail, and then you've got 2, 3, 4 yards of separation.
Right.
And then when this wide receiver, as long as they start coming back down, right, they're keeping that separation and leverage intact. This is just an outside throw to the sideline, and it's an easy catch. So we're going to put that on tape here in a second. I'll show you a couple plays we ran this weekend like that.
All right, let's jump to the screen.
All right, so on this film here, we're going to go over the 59 route combo, the comeback. And if you look on the screen here, I've got 5 players highlighted in blue. Those are our defenders. Sorry, there's a 6th defender here. Let's go to safety right here in the middle, right? So these guys on the outside, their job is to drop into deep coverage. The safety's dropping deep middle, and this guy's dropping deep here, right? So they can't get beat deep. So what we run is a comeback, which looks like a go route, right? And then when that DB's hips turn, we basically break the route off and come down to the outside. So you'll watch and look at the highlighted receiver out here. For this is what we're going to throw to. He's going to push up field hard here. And then when the DB starts to break his hips, he's going to come back, catch the ball on the sideline. It's probably a 10-yard pickup in this case. So let me go to roll it here.
All right, let's see it.
All right, we're watching top of the screen. The DB starts to turn his hips. He starts pushing deeper. And then we go come back on the sideline, right? So if you look at the separation we have here, it's, we got 5-yard separation. And it's no fault in the DB. I mean, this is a hard route to cover because he's told, I can't get beat deep, right? So he's gonna press, turn his hips and go, and then our receiver's going to break down and pick up yards. I'm going to run through it one more time. Man,
that ball was in the air before he turned, too. That quarterback knew exactly where he was going to be.
Yeah. So quarterback's rolling, and he knows when he starts to make his break, he's getting ready to throw the ball, right? So he's watching the guy, a breakdown's coming, and now he's putting the ball out there, pick up, right? This linebacker got out here and covered it well to pick a flag, but normally our receiver's running upfield for another 4 or 5 yards.
Right,
for a good pickup. So it's a great play we run. We run it quite often to press the corners backs deep. I'm going to go. I've got one more here that I'll show you. I'm going to go right here. Let's pause here. All right, so if we go, we're going to now attack this bottom receiver, right? We're going to go after the bottom receiver on this corner. But again, these guys are more, I think they're in a man coverage right now for the most part. So he's got to cover this receiver. So once we push him deep, right, he's going to turn his hips. Receiver's going to break down. Now on this play, we didn't throw it to the receiver. We ran it because he was rushed, but you can see how wide open he gets here. He's pushing. Now, the DB's looking in the backfield because he thinks ball's probably coming on a go ball. That's when our receiver makes his break. And then there's our separation right there.
Yep.
5 yards. And if this quarterback decides to throw this ball or he's not being blitzed, this is a wide open throw for 8 or 10 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. He's totally there. Just the quarterback didn't look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of the blitz.
Yeah, and a lot of comebacks, we don't see a lot of comebacks. I mean, we face teams and we don't see comebacks, and we're in a 5-1. And I just don't think it's a popular route or a well-known route, but this is a great route to push a DB deep that knows he has to and to pick up 8, 10, 12 yards, pretty big gain.
Right.
And a safe throw as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. So, yeah, I think that some important things about that, too, though, is the quarterback identifying the timing on that break, right? So that's something that you have to practice and kind of drill. It's like as soon as you see him break, you throw that ball.
Yeah.
Right? And, also, I think, another thing there, too, is having your quarterback continue to look downfield even through the blitz. What grade is this, 5th grade, 6th grade?
5th grade, yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I mean, that's right at the age where
Well, I was on the sideline of this play, and I was thinking, throw the ball, throw the ball. I knew he was being blessed. I'm like, you still throw it. You can still throw it.
Right.
He ran it and picked up. He had a big gain. But when we were younger, these kids were running this play, right? We were always throwing the ball late, right? So what you say is, hey, we got to teach him to throw the ball when he's breaking. But it took a year or two for a quarterback sometimes to get comfortable doing that.
Right.
But there's still always 5 or 6 yards of separation. So even a late ball is still a caught ball because the route creates so much separation in itself.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, I mean, this quarterback's just a little more fine-tuned. He's a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
So he knows, and we probably really trust that receiver on the outside. They've probably been working together for a while. However, if they haven't been working together for a while and he doesn't time it perfectly, there still should be enough space where that throw is going to be open.
To complete the pass. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a great route on the outside to run. What you run on the inside matters, right? So depending on what defense they're in, and we'll go in another show, we'll go to that. In this case, they're in either man coverage on the outside or the 5-1.
Okay.
So there's no threat of a defender coming over to cover that.
Right.
Right. But there are some isolation throws you can run where if you're like in a 4-2, you can still hit the comeback behind the outside corner.
Right.
But you just need to run something underneath that kind of takes his vision off dropping and keeps him up on an out or out whip or something like that.
Right. To get him to kind of.
But we run the comeback in 4-2s, 5-1s, man coverage. We run it in a 3-3. We run it in all the
Gotcha.
routes because any of those safeties or corners have to drop. And as long as you push to his toes and he turns and drops, it's a wide open throw.
Okay. I now got to add another number to my portfolio here.
You should add all the numbers to your portfolio.
Right.
Mike.
I'm working on it.
You can use them all.
It's a process with some of my kids, like I have to review. I go, what's a 9? What's a 1? Like I'm every practice we're redoing it over and over again. So
yeah,
because I have some kids that, I love them to pieces, but they go out there and they're just, it's like a data overload for them where they have no idea what is going on,
Yeah.
So to slowly kind of calm them down and get them comfortable and relaxed takes repetition.
Well, and I'd go back to like with your kids and your team, right? Teaching them, trying to bring them all along, but some kids are going to learn a little bit quicker.
Right.
But those kids that learn a little quicker, let's put it on them, right? So they add it, and then you can run the comeback to those kids. We run the comeback to 3 or 4 kids on our team, not all 8 of them.
Right.
Because 4 of them, they don't. The timing's not great. They don't run it great, but they run really good outs and crosses and things like that. So we just use what works for the kids best.
Right.
And we run it.
You'll
have a kid on your team that can run this for sure really well the first time, and you just utilize that for now.
Absolutely. I could think of 3 or 4 off the top of my head that could say, hey, this is a 5, this is a comeback. All right, got it. Right. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You focus. It's just like any kind of other sport. If you have some fast learning kids, you can develop around them and then bring up the other ones slowly as well. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Great play. 8 to 12 yards every time.
There you go.
We got anything else for today?
Oh, that's it. If you guys have any other questions about coaching or parents' questions or anything, please comment below or ask on any other platforms where you can find Coach Preston. Anything else for you to add?
That's it. Like and subscribe if you love the content we're sending you. We're going to dig in next week with more videos on skills and drills, plays, and hopefully we're adding a lot of value to coaches and parents out there, teaching them things that they probably don't know otherwise.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much for watching.